When nothing in this world truly belongs to you, why are you so terrified of losing anything? Every single morning, you wake up to build the walls of those fake fortresses, knowing they will eventually slip through your fingers. Status, titles, the illusion of ownership. You enslave your soul to objects that were never yours to begin with. The fear of loss is the invisible shackle of modern man. Yet the only way to melt this shackle is not to avoid power altogether, but to be free enough to walk away from it, even when it is entirely in your hands.
Centuries ago, the most powerful man in the Roman Empire sat in his tent, looking inward under the dim light of a flickering candle. Marcus Aurelius knew that the absolute power, the massive armies, and the endless treasures he held were nothing more than a passing shadow. He wrote in his journal, "When nothing in this world truly belongs to you, why should you fear losing anything?" As the emperor gazed at the heavy crown upon the table, he had already realized that power is not something that validates a man, but a monster that consumes him.
Now, release your mind. Let us escape the chaos of today and journey back to the year 458 BC, into the dark and ominous streets of ancient Rome. Long before the marble palaces rose, this was a city where the scent of mud, blood, and iron mixed in the air, a republic writhing on its deathbed. Whispers echo through the narrow alleys, and the wind carries the cold chill of an approaching catastrophe. Rome is facing the greatest existential crisis in its history.
The Equi armies have marched right up to the gates of Rome. The Roman legions are trapped in the rocky mountain passes, bleeding out in utter helplessness. As the torches flicker along the stone corridors of the Senate, you could see the raw, unadulterated terror on the faces of its leaders. They are on the verge of losing everything: their lands, their slaves, and their glorious titles. The exact question Marcus Aurelius would ask centuries later was frozen in the eyes of the senators that night. Why are you so afraid of losing a city that does not truly belong to you? Because they were slaves to power.
Roman law is brutal. When the Republic faces total annihilation, all assemblies are dissolved, and absolute, unchecked power is handed to a single man for 6 months. This man is to be a dictator. His every word becomes law. His every decision means life or death. But there was a catch. Who possessed a soul pure enough to take hold of such monumental power without going mad, without falling into the fear of loss by treating Rome as his personal property?
A group of mounted messengers, bearing torches, rode through the muddy paths of Rome, heading toward a small plot of land across the Tiber River. There, in the middle of a humble 4-acre farm, was a man pushing an old wooden plow through the dirt. Lucius Quinctius Cincinnatus. He wore no silk tunics, no gold-trimmed armour. There was only sweat, soil, and calloused hands. A man living in the very heart of the nothingness that Marcus Aurelius spoke of.
When the horseman reached the field, Cincinnatus halted his plough. Wiping the sweat from his brow, he looked at the approaching aristocrats. The envoys of the Senate knelt before him and extended the purple robe of dictatorship. "Rome is dying," they said. "We give you absolute power, the armies and the city." Cincinnatus looked at the dirt in his hands, then at the purple robe. In that single moment, the greatest power on earth was laid at his feet. Most men would sell their souls just to keep a fraction of it, yet not a single trace of ambition crossed his face. Cincinnatus draped the robe over his shoulders, left his plow at the edge of the field, and took one last look at the soil he left behind. The philosophy of Marcus Aurelius came to life right then and there. Cincinnatus knew that neither the field nor the purple robe truly belonged to him. He was merely a custodian. He was fearless because he had never attached his heart to anything he held in his hands.
As dictator, Cincinnatus took command of the Roman legions. He surrounded the enemy forces within the smoky, steep crags of Mount Algidus. In the dead of night, the valley echoed with nothing but the clash of swords and the screams of dying soldiers. With cold, calculated strategy, Cincinnatus trapped the enemy in an unbreakable circle. It was a display of brilliant military genius and absolute, unwavering control. In just a matter of days, he dragged Rome back from the brink of death.
The streets of Rome were exploding with chaos. The citizens threw themselves at the feet of the savior dictator, worshipping him. Laurel crowns, gold, slaves, palaces, all of Rome was at his feet. If he wished, Cincinnatus could easily extend his 6-month dictatorship for the rest of his life, becoming the very first emperor of Rome. Everyone around him was desperately trying to win his favor, driven by the absolute fear of losing their own power.
Yet, on the very day the triumphal march concluded, Cincinnatus made a move that left the entire ancient world in utter disbelief. Just 15 days after taking the throne, 15 days after grasping absolute power, he stripped the purple robe from his shoulders. He placed the golden crown flat on the Senate table. He relinquished command of the army. While the entire Roman Empire sat squarely in his hands, he simply said, "My duty is done."
The people of Rome could not believe their eyes. In a world where men murdered their own brothers just to catch a glimpse of power, this man was casting it aside with the back of his hand. Cincinnatus walked out of those glorious palaces, crossed the Tiber River once more, and returned to his muddy field, to the exact spot where he had left his plough 15 days prior. The next morning, the most powerful man in the world was doing nothing but tilling the soil. He was the living, breathing proof of Marcus Aurelius's timeless lesson. To carry what does not belong to you is nothing but a heavy burden. Marcus Aurelius and Cincinnatus. One wrote this truth at the absolute peak of an empire, while the other lived it at the absolute peak of the Republic. Both crashed into the exact same paradox. Power is nothing but an illusion. While most people make cowardly choices in life out of fear of losing their shaking seats and temporary wealth, these two figures scream a single truth to the world. Nothing truly belongs to us.
So why are we so terrified? Why does our entire world crumble at the slightest failure, the loss of a title, or when one of our masks falls off? Because we do not possess the courage to return to our plough like Cincinnatus. We have lost ourselves inside the fake labels we use to define who we are. Marcus Aurelius was right. The house you own, the car you drive, the fancy title written on your business card, none of it is truly yours.
The story of Cincinnatus does not just tell us a tale of heroism. It reveals the ultimate psychological advantage one can hold against power. If you are free enough to walk away from something while you possess it, no power in the world can manipulate you, and no fear of loss can ever force you to your knees. The inner peace that Marcus Aurelius sought in his tent on the battlefields was sitting right there in the mud of Cincinnatus's farm.
Now, while the smoke of this historical reality still hangs in the air, let us step out of those torch-lit Roman streets and return to the present day, to this exact moment. But pay close attention. Your story does not begin because history ended. History was tracking your exact story all along. It is time to turn the mirror onto yourself. Cincinnatus abandoned the robe. Marcus Aurelius saw the transience beneath the crown. What is it that you cannot let go of?
I ask you, those things you are absolutely terrified of losing, do they truly belong to you? Your fabricated social media profile, the pathetic masks you wear just to make people like you, the jobs or relationships where you sacrifice your integrity just to avoid losing them. Are they truly yours? Or do you sell your soul every single day just to carry a purple robe that belongs to someone else?
Let's be brutally honest. You are afraid. You are afraid because you are trying to fill the deep, hollow void inside your soul with fake titles gathered from the outside world. While Marcus Aurelius viewed a literal superpower as nothing but a passing shadow, you play 1,000 pathetic games every day just to protect your tiny micro-worlds. Stop lying to yourself. The scale of your fear of loss is the exact measurement of how much of a slave you are to those objects. If you had to cast aside your fake power today, your comfort zone, the superficial praise people feed you, could you do it? Or would you retreat to your corner and tremble like those cowardly senators in Rome? What made Cincinnatus immortal was not the war he won. It was his willpower to go back to his plow after the war was over. Do you even have a plow to go back to? Or are you absolutely nothing once those seats are taken away from you?
The Emperor was right. Nothing in this world truly belongs to you. You were born naked, and on the day you die, you will not take those beloved titles into the dirt with you. So why all these timid, cowardly reactions to life? The very moment you fear losing something, you cease to be its master. You become its slave. True power means having access to everything while remaining dependent on absolutely nothing. It is the ability to hold absolute dictatorship, like Cincinnatus, yet still long for the honest smell of the dirt on a farm. It is the ability to look down on an arrogant world, like Marcus Aurelius, as if you are the master of the universe, while knowing it's just a game. If you are afraid of losing, you have already lost from the very beginning. Face the realities you usually turn your head away from while watching this. Look directly into the eyes of whatever it is in your life that makes you say, if this goes away, I am ruined. Just as Cincinnatus abandoned that purple robe, release those attachments within your own mind. Only then can you transform into a truly free and powerful human being.
Reaching the summit is not just about climbing the ladder and sitting in the seat at the top. The true summit is being able to keep your eyes fixed downward on the very field where you started, even while sitting on that throne. The paradox of power is exactly this. You can only truly control power when your soul is vast enough to cast it aside. Otherwise, it will consume you.
The soil did not belong to Cincinnatus. Rome did not belong to Marcus Aurelius. And this life does not belong to you. We are nothing but actors on this stage. Perform your duty and leave the robe on the table. There is absolutely nothing to fear, because you have absolutely nothing to lose.
Now I ask you, What is the one thing in your life right now that you are most afraid of losing? And be completely honest with yourself. Does that thing truly belong to you? Or are you its slave? Drop the delusions, use those calloused hands, and write the truth in the comments below. Let's see if you possess the courage of Cincinnatus, or if you are just another cowardly senator.